Hello, I'm Phil Rios, U.S. Army, retired 1970-1996. Life member, Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 500, Sacramento Valley. Life member, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Post 67. Charter member, American GI Forum, Cesar Chavez Chapter, Sacramento. All gave some gave all, lest they not be forgotten. Reading of the names, 2022. Private First Class Poffenbarger, William, Oscar, United States Marine Corps, San Diego. HM2, Pogre, Bob Elia, U.S. Navy, San Francisco. PFC Pogu, Michael Allen, U.S. Army, Colusa. PFC Pogu, Joseph Donald, U.S. Marine Corps, Oxnard. Private First Class Paul William Anthony, U.S. Army, Los Angeles. Warrant Officer Pullman John Howard, U.S. Army, North Edwards. Sergeant Poirier Roger Milton, U.S. Marine Corps, Redondo Beach. Specialist 4 Ponce Paul, U.S. Army, Santa Clara. Sergeant Poole Thomas Lynn, U.S. Army, Inglewood. Private First Class Pope Thomas Robert, U.S. Army, La Mirada. PFC Pope Severston Devon, U.S. Marine Corps, Modesto. Specialist 4 Pope Derek Boyd, U.S. Army, Alameda. Sergeant Popa Gerald Leland, U.S. Marine Corps, Salinas. Private First Class Port Gary Craig, U.S. Army, San Rafael. Private First Class Porte Robert Andrew, U.S. Army, Reedley. Staff Sergeant Portalo Roderick Charles, U.S. Army, Tacoma. Corporal Porter Ronald William, U.S. Marine Corps, Antioch. Specialist 4 Porter William Grant, U.S. Army, Anaheim. Specialist 4 Porterfield Dale Katie, U.S. Army, Los Angeles. Private First Class Portugal Junior Ignacio, U.S. Army, Norwalk. Specialist 4 Posey Ralph Edward, U.S. Army, Fresno. Platoon Sergeant Poso John Richard, U.S. Army, San Jose. Private First Class Poston Gerald Wayne, U.S. Army, Placerville. BMI 1 Porter William Vernon, U.S. Navy, Maywood. Corporal Potts Wilmer, U.S. Army, Oakland. PFC Polson Bruce William, U.S. Army, Corona del Mar. Corporal Powell Daniel Lee, U.S. Army, Artesia. Corporal Powell Leslie Allen, U.S. Army, Norwalk. Sergeant Powell Russell J., U.S. Army, Reading. Specialist 4 Powell Reginald Forster, U.S. Army, Empire. Private First Class Powell Jr. Irwin Gilbert, U.S. Army, Los Angeles. Corporal Powers Ronald Lee, U.S. Marine Corps, Fresno. PFC Powers Bradley Island, U.S. Army, Kettleman City. Welcome home. Sergeant Powers Stephen, U.S. Army, Compton. Private First Class Prang Joseph Wilder, U.S. Army, Los Angeles. PFC Prater, Calvin Ray, U.S. Marine Corps, Kerman. Specialist 4, Prater, Donald Harold, U.S. Army, El Cerrito. Specialist 4, Prather, Levin Neal, U.S. Army, Selma. AX-1, Pratt, James Irving, U.S. Navy, North Hollywood. Private First Class Pratt, Richard Chester, U.S. Army, San Francisco. Specialist 4, Peretti, Robert Lee, U.S. Army, San Bernardino. Specialist 4, Prediger, Franz Gerhard, U.S. Army, Long Beach. Sergeant Premenko, John L., U.S. Army, Pacifica. Specialist 4, Prentice, Dennis Albert, U.S. Army, San Pablo. PFC Presby, Thomas Frank, United States Marine Corps, Sunland. Corporal Prescott, William Sherman, U.S. Marine Corps, Rolling Hills. Specialist 4, Prescott, Dennis Lewis, U.S. Army, Sunnyvale. Private First Class Preston Ross McClellan, U.S. Army, La Habra. Specialist 5, Prevost Kenneth Wayne, U.S. Army, La Mesa. Private First Class Price Thomas Gordon, U.S. Marine Corps, Torrance. Specialist 4, Prian Don, U.S. Army, Palo Alto. Corporal Priesthoff II, John Howard, U.S. Army, Woodland Hills. Specialist 4, Prieto Trinidad Gutierrez, U.S. Army, Azusa. PFC Pringle Emmett Terrence, United States Marine Corps, San Francisco. Lieutenant Commander Pritchard William John, U.S. Navy, Lancaster. Specialist 4, Pritchard Jr. Clarence R., U.S. Army, Lompoc. Hospital Corpsman 3, Pritchard Gregory Jean, U.S. Navy, Walnut. Lance Corporal Proc Daniel Lee, U.S. Marine Corps, Gridley. Specialist 4, Proctor Ricky Allen, U.S. Army, Reading. Private First Class Proctor Jr. William C., U.S. Army, Burbank. Sergeant Prosky Leverett Roscoe, U.S. Army, Palm Springs. Staff Sergeant Proto Jr. Robert B., U.S. Army, Sunnyvale. Specialist 4, Proudfoot Timothy Cole, U.S. Army, San Jose. Sergeant Pruitt Richard Monroe, U.S. Army, San Diego. Private First Class Prize Robert William, U.S. Army, San Diego. Specialist 4, Puentes Miguel Ancal, U.S. Army, San Jose. Warrant Officer Puff Thomas Joe, U.S. Army, in Garden Grove. Welcome home. Private First Class Poffenbarger William T., U.S. Army, Oakland. PRCS Pugh Kenneth Ward, U.S. Navy, Lancaster. Warrant Officer Pugh Richard Hart, U.S. Army, Sherman Oaks. Corporal Pullum James Lee, U.S. Marine Corps, Oakland. Private First Class Pullen Melvin Lewis, U.S. Army, Felton. Private First Class Pulsiver Jr. Nelson F., U.S. Army, Lakeside. Staff Sergeant Pumphrey Jr. Cornelius U.S. Army, Cochrane. Private First Class Purcell Gary William, U.S. Marine Corps, Torrance. Private First Class Purcell Dennis Edward, U.S. Army, Tulare. Corporal Purdy Robert David, U.S. Marine Corps, Sherman Oaks. Hospital Corpsman Purdon Patrick Lawrence, U.S. Navy, Long Beach. Corporal Purcell Charles Allen, U.S. Army, Fresno. Chief Warrant Officer Purser James Laval, U.S. Army, Anaheim. Private First Class Quagliari Paul Vincenzo, U.S. Army, Burbank. Staff Sergeant Quinier Jr. Ulysses Grant, U.S. Army, Los Angeles. Private First Class Query Robert Peter, U.S. Army, Santa Ana. First Lieutenant Quezada Arthur, U.S. Army, Trona. Corporal Quigley James Mitchell, U.S. Marine Corps, Hollywood. Specialist for Quigley Timothy Ernest, U.S. Army, Reseda. Private First Class Quicklong Jr. Anastasio D., U.S. Army, Chula Vista. Major Quill Jr. Edward Beading, U.S. Air Force, San Francisco. First Lieutenant Quinn Melvin Darrell, U.S. Marine Corps, Merced. Lance Corporal Quinn Patrick Owen, U.S. Marine Corps, La Crescenta. Private First Class Quinn Douglas